let's talk about tone and beginner tone, because a lot of times, at least for me, when I was a beginner, I had horrible tone. And I know some people are going to say, there's no such thing as bad tone. Well, trust me, I had some bad tone. And no, I do agree with that. There's always a situation that can utilize whatever tone it is, but I think as a beginner, our tone is particularly different than what it is as we kind of progress as players. So I thought I would highlight a couple of things that lead to that and how we can fix them. If you guys are digging the video, hit subscribe. Most of the people who are watching this are not subscribed. Yo, let's hang out some. Let's talk about tone. So the first one here is all about how well listened a player is. Something happens whenever you become a musician, when you become a guitarist, that you just listen to music differently. You start hearing things differently. So as a beginner, I don't think you've spent enough time, and that's going to be the reoccurring theme here is, of course, time. The longer you play the guitar, the longer you're listening to music in a whole different way. So you're just not well listened enough. And how you get better at that? Listen to a whole bunch of music. Now, the next one is your left and right hand control. Your hands are an incredibly important facet to what your tone sounds like. You know, people always say tone is in the hands, and it really is. Maybe not in the concept of just like, oh, if you played a G chord and I played a G chord, they would sound so different. It's more about the delivery of the note that you're putting on stuff. So when I'm playing a phrase, there's a lot of little things that were just happening there that contribute to the tone. Now obviously there's the guitar, there's the amp, but it's more about my left and right hand control, how hard I'm picking, how I'm, kind of like squeezing the strings at some point, so, get a little more sustain out of it, and then being real soft and adding that little bit of vibrato on there. Those are the things. That's the left and right hand control that you've got to work on. So how do you do that? Just play as much guitar as you can. Practice the little things like vibrato. Practice taking a breath whenever you're playing. That's a great way. Work on little phrases, stuff like that. Work on sliding into notes versus just playing the note or hammer on. All these little things, to me, that all contributes to your tone, but it takes a lot of control from your hand. So work on all the stuff. Now, as much as we like to say gear isn't important, it totally is important. But I will say, as a beginner, you probably haven't played enough gear to really even know what tone you're after. A lot of times we're just hearing stuff and we're like, oh, I want it to sound like this person. But part of that person's tone is also the gear. To me, there's three main kind of flavors of rock tone. You've got your Vox, you've got your Fender, and you've got your Marshall. And there's a few other variations thrown in there, but those are the three big ones. So you're going to discover as you progress as a player, oh, I lean way more towards the Marshall side, or I'm way more of a Fender guy. I've got kind of like a Fender thing going on right now with my guitar. But I'm actually kind of more of a Marshall guy, but I still really love this tone. So your ear is going to start picking up on these tonal variations, and you're just going to be like, yo, I like this. And how do you get better at that? Just play a whole bunch of gear. Go down to your local music store, annoy everyone, play Stairway to Heaven like 50 times, and just don't tell them I sent you. And I think that's gonna be it. So overall, what's the best thing you can do for any of this stuff? Just play as much guitar as you possibly can. Play a lot of guitar, play a lot of different gear, play with other people. Like, all these little things just affect the way that you sound. And to me, your tone is kind of the embodiment of every aspect of guitar. Like, that's your sound. So just do all the things, all the time, every day, 25/7. At most, what?
Pro tip.
Pro tip. And most importantly of all, subscribe and end it bluesy.